Hi, I am starting to record lessons for our Banner students who are sick, and so we do have the flu kind of going around, and we've had a couple of 7th graders who have not been able to be in class to go over the most recent material. So instead of holding up until we get everybody in class, I am going to plan to do video lessons, and I will upload them to our Google Classroom. So we are going to be talking about identifying noun clauses. Now, there are 2 sheets that are posted to Google Classroom. One of them looks like this, so I'll hold it close to the camera. This is Charlie's from class. And the other one is a worksheet that looks like this. So they're both posted, and what you should probably do is hit pause and then print these out, or at least get them up on another device so that you can refer to them. So we will be looking at noun clauses. And a noun clause, as we've talked about in class, is a dependent clause that can be used as a subject, direct object, or predicate nominative in a complex sentence. We have not talked about the predicate nominative very much, but we have talked about the subject and the direct object. So if you take a look at the sheet that has some definitions and reference examples, these will be part of your study guide for trimester 2. So make sure that you hold on to these. I will also be filing them in our Google Classroom as study guide for trimester 2. So this is our first study sheet. Now the sheet also goes on to give you an example. And that example, it says, whoever practices diligently will become the first chair. Or the second one, Mom expressed her concerns when the family met together. And so these clauses begin with one of the words in these boxes, 99.9% of the time. There might be another word that jumps in here, but there's, I don't know, maybe 20 words in here that generally start those clauses. So as you're doing the work, what you need to do is look for one of the words in these boxes. That's what's going to start your clause. So for whoever practices diligently, and it could be who or whomever. I'm not sure if whom is in there. But whoever practices diligently will become the first chair. So what we need is all those words. All of those words are the subject. So this noun clause, we used to have one word for a subject. Now we have a whole group of words for a subject. However, in the next one, Mom expressed her concerns when the family met together. That is something completely different. That's actually going to be, in this situation, when the family met together is adverbial, but if we were going to call it a noun clause, it would be doing a function at the end of a sentence, like a direct object. So look down at the third bullet point. It says most of the words that introduce noun clauses can also be used to introduce adjective or adverb clauses, which is something that I just said, that these words can create or can start 3 different kinds of clauses. And those clauses could be adjective, adverb, or noun. We are focusing on the noun right now, but it could be any of those 3. So groups of words now are becoming longer clauses with more words. So here's what you have to do to determine, is it an adjective, is it an adverb, or is it a noun clause? You have to do these tests. And I like the first and third test. The second one's kind of redundant to me. But the first test is, does the clause name a person, place, or thing? And so here's the sentence, I did not hear when Mr. Smith drove in. So we can say, I did not hear what? I didn't hear when he drove in. So that is, it's naming something. The second one says, does it have a function in a sentence And in this case, it's the direct object. We know the direct object has to be a noun. And then finally, if we can, this is my favorite one, if I can replace it with a pronoun, then I know that it is a noun clause. So I could say, I did not hear when Mr. Smith drove in. I could also say, I did not hear him. I've replaced that whole group of words with a pronoun telling me that it is indeed a noun clause. So a noun clause, I want to show you first how we diagram those, because I do think it helps to know what it looks like on the diagramming. And this is where we have pedestal Pete and pedestal Petunia appear. So we're going to look at the very first one on the worksheet. So I mentioned that we have a worksheet, and I am going to do the first one diagrammed. You're not diagramming all of these, but it says, today we discovered where the old cabin had been located. So we're going to start, and we have to figure out the main idea. So if we ask ourselves, who or what is this about? We would say we. So we would put we. And then what did we do? We discovered. If you are a true grammarian and know what that today is, it's actually an adverb. We're going to put it down here. And then we have to get this clause in. And so we would say we discovered what? And since we can answer the what question, that means that it's a direct object. So we have to put all Petunia, pedestal Petunia, down here in the direct object. Remember, Petunia has the straight arms. She does not have the crooked arm that goes up. And so we are going to now diagram where the old cabin had been located on this line. So cabin, the verb had been, we're going to stretch this out. Hopefully the whole thing shows, yeah, I think it does. Had been located, and the word where is going to go down here, and old is going to go right there. So that's going, let me move it up a little closer so you can actually see that a little bit better. You can pause it to take a look if you need. But what we've got here is just a visual of that first sentence. So what we are looking for is this. We are looking for those noun clauses. And that's what we're going to be looking for in each sentence. So I'm going to do 2 of these along with you, and then you can actually do the rest on your own, and you'll want to turn this in when you return. So the second one, how gravity works defies man's understanding. Well, if we go to our little worksheet, let me find mine here, that has our nice little box. If we look on there, we would see the word how. And so our pencil, we would put underneath the word how, because it says to underline the clause. So it's going to start with how. And we have to figure out how far it goes, how far that underline is going to go. So I would say how gravity works. I'm going to underline all of that, because now I bump into the verb, defies. Defies man's understanding. So you would underline how gravity works, and you would put subject above it. Now the reason that you would do that is because that whole group of words is our subject. So let me show you what it looks like on our video, or on our diagram line. So here's our pedestal, here's our pedestal Petunia, and we are going to put gravity works, and how down here, and that's our subject. The whole thing is our subject. The verb is defies. And then if we were going to include our direct object, we would put that in there. So hopefully you see now we're working with a group of words, not just one word to be the subject. Let's take a look at the next one. Lydia's answer was what I expected. So I'm going to look at my little box. I'm going to look for a matching word, and voila, the word what. So I find where my clause starts with the word what. That's where my pencil is going to start making the line. Then it's actually going to go all the way to the end. I expected. Now what I'm looking for when I do this is a subject and verb in that little group of words. And I expected is the subject and verb. So what I expected is what you underline, and that's going to be a direct object. So you would write direct object above it. Your two choices for the function of the sentence, it says tell what the sentence function, what the clause is doing. Your two choices at this stage with what you know is direct object or subject. If it's at the beginning of a sentence, it's probably the subject. If it's at the end, it's probably a direct object. So try to work your way through these. Circle any problems that you have questions with or send me a message. But once you've watched the video, try to complete the worksheet, and I will see you when you're healthy and return.